Peaches Geldof, the second daughter of musician Bob Geldof and Paula Yates, has been found dead at the age of 25. Police say her death is being treated as unexplained and sudden. In the last hour, Bob Geldof said the family was beyond pain. Well, our culture and digital editor Paul Mason joins me now. This has only happened a short while ago. What do we know?
About an hour ago, we got the news that she'd been found dead at her home in Kent after police were called, or the emergency services were called, due to people worrying about the welfare of somebody at that address. Beyond that, we know nothing. It's a sudden and unexplained death. And of course, you know, the popular media will describe her as Bob Geldof's daughter. She was a journalist and celebrity and writer of great talent in her own right. As I say, all we know is that the death's sudden and unexplained.
It was a life lived from the very start amid the glitter and haze of modern celebrity, and today cut short. Peaches Geldof, mother of two, was found dead at her home in Kent, aged 25. The daughter of rock star Bob Geldof and TV presenter Paula Yates, Peaches embarked on a career in journalism at the age of 15.
That's me, Peaches Geldof. I'm about to turn 16 and I like to think of myself as an opinionated teenager.
She went on to write for The Telegraph and The Guardian, defiantly imperfect in an age of stereotypes.
Sort of like I'm very influenced by J.D. Salinger, Bukowski, J.G. Ballard. Obviously I could never be as great as them because they're literary legends, but the things that I read I think influence me more than, like, you know, Peppa Pig.
With husband rock singer Thomas Cohen, she had two young children. Most recently, she was modelling for the Tesco brand F&F. But she wrote of being haunted by the death of her mother, Paula Yates, from a heroin overdose in 2000. Yesterday, she tweeted this picture: me and my mum. Bob Geldof said today in a statement, "We are beyond pain. She was the wildest, funniest, cleverest, wittiest and the most bonkers of us all. What a beautiful child. How is this possible that we will not see her again? How is it bearable? We loved her and will cherish her forever. How sad that sentence is." Police are treating her death as sudden and unexplained.
And Paul, there are lots of other tributes coming in.
Well, there's a fistful of tributes on Twitter from famous people of her dad's generation, Denise Van Outen, Piers Morgan, Boy George, Gary Lineker, all saying more or less the same thing. Lovely person, terrible that she's gone. But I think it's worth pointing out that for people of her age in the media, people widely, she was something of a role model in her unusualness and her ebullience. And that is why I think Twitter is going pretty crazy about this event.
Paul, thanks very much. Well, joining me now is Lucy Cave, Editor-in-Chief of Heat magazine. I mean, first and foremost, this is just a terrible tragedy for her family, isn't it?
Yeah, it's such a terrible shock. I mean, there was a collective kind of gasp and shivers sent through the office when we heard. It just feels a real shock. That's all I can say.
I mean, obviously there was the very public image, lots of photos of Peaches, lots of her own work, actually, in television. I mean, you met her. What was she like?
I met her a couple of times and she was very bright, very opinionated, quite a tough nut to crack, but she struck me as someone who, once she trusted people, she had quite a close inner circle, then she was very loving and very funny as well. She had a really great sense of humour.
I mean, in interviews, she had been very, very open about how she had struggled first with the divorce of her parents, Bob Geldof and Paula Yates, and then the devastating death of her mother when she was just 11.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt that her mum's death really affected her and she was very open about that. It's obviously tragic for the whole family, and I think in Bob Geldof's statement, later on in the statement, he talks about how the family had been so often fractured, and I think that's really particularly poignant now. But yeah, she was really, really affected by the death of her mother. But what was striking to me was just how much she'd evolved from this kind of rocky, wild child to someone who was this really loving mother of two kids. She, you know, you look on her Instagram feed and it's even sadder now, but she's posting constant pictures of her husband, of her kids, and she just did seem like she was in a really happy place.
And in a sense, having her children, she said, had really crystallised in her mind how she wanted to go forward. She was desperate, she said, to bring the sort of stability that she hadn't had, and said that, you know, the birth of her first son was like a rebirth for her.
And you definitely saw that. I mean, the evolution and the blossoming of Peaches seemed to really happen when she got married and when she became a mother. You know, she went from writing kind of real opinion pieces to then writing for, you know, Mother and Baby and talking about her family life and the support network that she had around her. So it's just incredibly sad.
And she'd been pretty open as well about, when she was younger, trying out drugs, alcohol, as many young people do, but always remembering what happened to her mother, she said, had sort of stopped her from spiralling out of control.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing, that was the thing about Peaches, that she was always very, very honest. So, and that's when you say that she was a real role model, because she was honest about the mistakes she made, but she always pulled herself back because she knew what happened to her mum.
So, I mean, we still don't know anything about what happened to her, but if we find out later. But for the moment, Lucy, thank you very much. Thank you.